Okay. Hey guys,
Hello.
how's it going?
Oh, long time no see.
Well, yes.
We haven't spoken in ages.
Episode 6 today.
Episode 6. Press the button to subscribe and the bell to get notifications. Woohoo!
Okay, should we get straight into it then? So we were going to talk today about what we would teach our younger selves. So
Yes.
do you want to go first?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, you.
Okay,
Kieran.
good. That
It's
is my
your
name.
idea.
Okay, so a couple of things. I think the first thing I would tell my younger self is so many things. But if I had to, it would be don't feel you have to learn everything on drums because there's just too much. And I think there was a point where I just was like, well, I should do this and I should learn this style and this style. When the reality is I didn't actually practice those other things that much anyway. And I'm not saying to people don't practice things you don't know, but I'm saying don't feel that pressure. Try not to feel that pressure. Just go with the things that you like, and I think you're more likely to practice it and be good at it. If that makes any sense to you guys.
It does, yeah.
The second thing is about gigging and working for free, because I know I did so many gigs for free back in the day, and I feel like I could have done with someone to say to me a lot earlier, hey, you need to start charging now. Yeah. But it was difficult because I was young and I wanted experience, but actually, you know, I think I should have a lot earlier just said, no, you know, this is what I've been studying, this is what I do, and, you know, gone forward with charging, because I grappled with that for a long time. And I think that can be a tough one for some musicians because it's something that you love. And then so to charge people for it can have this uncomfortable feelings. But I would definitely say to my younger self, just start charging as soon as you're doing professional gigs, because otherwise people are, you know, getting away with a lot. There you go.
So how many gigs did you do before you started charging then? Like how long were you playing for free, do you think?
You know what, it's hard to say because I came out of ACM, my college, and I did I had 2 professional gigs straight away, like I'm going to tell you this, a Cause tribute band.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. No,
and I was playing drums for a musical in London. So they were both paid, but I think at the same time I was, or after that, I was just taking on things for little or no money if it was like something different or working with new people.
Yeah.
And I think that was a mistake, you know, especially for bands. I did a lot of band stuff. And whilst I love being in a band, you know, it can cost you a lot of money.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, big holes in the bank account from that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You must have done quite a lot of free stuff in your day, Felipe.
I'm still doing.
Right. I want to stop now, I would think.
Well, it's a hard thing to really put a finger on it. But if you are part of a band, you will have to do some stuff where you don't make any money, right? If let me rephrase that. If you are part of a band that plays original material, because if it's a functions band or a tribute band, come on, right?
Yeah.
But for example, sorry, Ichi, my Chinese friend, Ichi. So anyway.
We're going to get so many complaints now.
At least
this is
people are going to watch it.
Complaints
viral for the wrong reasons.
Well, that's all right. No such thing
I'll
as
deal with the
bad
comments. Don't worry.
weather. Anyway.
I'll say I'm foreigner. I don't care.
Okay.
Me don't speak English very well.
Oh my God.
Me from Brazil. We don't care. But I spoke with a Russian accent, which is
Yeah, I
fine.
know. Waiting to see where you were going with
I
that.
just want to confuse people, basically.
Oh God.
So,
Anyway, but for example, I had some not very good experiences where I was playing. It was supposed to be a band, but it only had the name of the singer,
right.
and then the singer would come with all the songs recorded, and then we had to play exactly as it was recorded.
Oh, fun.
But then so I had to tell the singer, like, you have to make up your mind. If it's a band, then we should create the music together and record the music.
Mm-hmm.
If it's your solo career, money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I would say to my younger self is never, ever play in an upcoming band where there's a couple.
Where there's a couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, because I've done that not many times in my life, twice only, but both times weren't very good experiences, because in the rehearsal room, if the couple disagrees on something and you side with one of the members of the couple because you agree with one of them, then right there and then in the rehearsal, you are a mortal enemy of the other member of the couple. Then that's not the end of the story. Then the couple goes home and they work their differences at home. So next rehearsal, you are the mortal enemy of both of them.
Brilliant.
So both times I wasn't with a band, it wasn't a very good experience.
That's tough.
Yeah, but the thing I would say to my younger self, like serious, is take care of business, be open-minded, and know how to treat people. Because I thought I knew how it was supposed to be done, and I wouldn't change my mind for anything. If people didn't agree with me, I would tell them to, and that would be the end of it. And I always thought my job is to be the drummer. So if there's somebody else's job, which is to take care of business. And so there's three combinations also don't go very well.
Yeah.
Ta-da, that's it.
That's a hard
Mark.
one, though, I think.
Which one?
Like, sorry, Mark, just to
No,
interject,
go
with the band, like a band politics, and also just, that's such a good point about working with other people. It's not just about being a good drummer, is it? It's
No.
about being flexible and trying to interpret what they want. Because sometimes someone will say, oh, I want a funky beat. And then if you give them a funky beat, they're like, no. So they actually want pop or something. And it's tricky. And it is kind of, you need a lot more, I think, patience and people skills and communication skills than maybe anyone even tells you,
Yeah. And a lot of times, as you said, because you're dealing with people who don't have a clue how the drums go.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to understand. And the frustration that comes with people not being able to tell what they want and you not being able to deliver what they want, it mounts up to the point that you start a fight for no reason whatsoever. You know?
Yeah, it reminds me of a recording I did a couple of years ago with an Italian rock band. It's the video I put out the other day. And I'm used to recording, I do a lot of metal stuff, and that's all done with a click and triggers, and it's very kind of regimented. And you're saying about the people communicating what they wanted. So eventually we ended up, the guitarist wanted like a completely different way of doing it. He hated clicks and he wanted it all done organically. And it was done in the end, but it was one of those situations where halfway through, I think if I'd been 20 years younger, I would have sworn and walked away. But now I kind of take a deep breath and say to myself, it's all right, just keep going. We'll get there. And we did, we got there in the end. And actually what happened was he'd sit there next to me while I was doing the takes and say yes or no. And it worked fine. It's just, I think you kind of, I learned not to take it so personally. I think, it's just like, it doesn't matter, does it? As long as it sounds good in the end, who cares, And I was getting paid for it, so I wanted to do a good job. But it's also the difference in recording. I don't know whether you guys have come across this, but certainly with recording metal and sort of modern prog, it's very kind of metronome based and everything's got to be, whereas this was classic rock. So they want it much looser, and you kind of have to abandon everything you've done before. And I've also found that, like, whenever I do these sessions, by the time I get to the end of it, I've basically got into the swing of it. And by the time I've got into the swing of it, it's finished. So you sort of get the hang of it, and then it's done. It's like, oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I think I would, if I'd have been in my 20s, I would have told them to take a hike. But now I wouldn't do that. I just kind of wait, because I know they're trying to make it sound as good as possible. But yeah, so I guess that kind of leads on to what I was going to, if I could teach my younger self, I think it'd be two things. First one kind of ties into what Kira said around practicing, because I had exactly the same thing of like, God, I've got to learn everything. And it becomes paralyzing. You just kind of look at it and go, I can't do any of this. And I mean, I had lessons in Afro-Cuban for about 5 years, and I ditched it in the end because I never played it. And I like the stuff, but there's so much, just trying to explain it to a student that, like, you could study snare drum for 30 years and never finish it. Just one drum on its own. And so if I could go back now, I would stick.
It's worse. It's worse. You can study snare drum for 30 years, never finish, and you will only apply 5%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's just so much to everything. I mean, that was why I kind of stopped with the Afro-Cuban stuff, because I was really enjoying it, but I was never playing it. And I find, for me, if I haven't got a reason to play it, the motivation kind of disappears after a while. And it got to the point where I'd sort of got good enough at it that I needed to start studying sort of the authentic way of doing it. So I'd go really deep into it. And I just thought, it's going to take up a disproportionate amount of time when I'm getting asked to do other things. But I would stick a copy of the syncopation page 38. Oh, Kira's disappeared.
I'm back.
I'm back. Oh.
Just at
I thought we've lost her.
Sound of syncopation.
I'm getting phone calls, people. Sorry.
No, it was like, I took to page 38 of syncopation. I'm out of here.
Yeah. So I would take page 38 of syncopation, and I would show my younger self how to interpret it in paradiddles, single strokes, and double strokes on the hands and feet, and I'd say, go away and do that for 10 years. And just don't worry. That's your technique, and then just join lots of bands. And don't worry about anything else. Keep it really focused and narrow, because I flitted for years. And I got a good piece of advice from a guitarist who put me onto Mike Mangini. And I read Mike Mangini's Rhythm Knowledge book, and it talks about staying on one thing much longer than you think you need to. And that was kind of a bit of a game changer for me. So I would tell myself to much simpler, much more focused. And the other thing I'd do is I'm not sure how I'd teach myself to do it, but to trust my gut feeling about bands, and to pay attention to red flags much earlier on, right? Because I have joined bands before where I've gone into the band and just had a funny feeling about it and thought there's something not quite right here. I don't think this is going to go. And every single time it's been right. And I did actually work out a way of telling after a while, if you'd be interested to hear it.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
If a band's been around for more than 5 years and they haven't got either a record deal of some sort, a manager or an agent, they're either not very good or they're doing something wrong. Because you should have one of them. And I don't mean a major label deal. They should have something, one of those on board. Otherwise, they're either not taking it seriously or they're just crap. Because 5 years is about the amount of time I think it takes to establish yourself. That's just my rule. And ever since I kind of brought that in, I seem to have avoided the red flag situations.
I think nowadays is a little bit different because it's really hard to get any of them, you know?
Yeah.
It's, but instead of a record deal or a manager or an agent, it's a band that's around for 5 years should have achieved stuff.
Yes.
That either three of these characters would have helped. With an agent or without an agent, with a record deal or without a record deal, with a manager or without a manager, a band after 5 years should have achieved something.
Yeah, I think just on that, if it was like a covers band, I would expect them to have like 1 gig a month, something like that, maybe, if they're doing it properly. They're just, I mean, these are arbitrary markers, but it's sort of really helped me avoid the red flag stuff. Because I did join a band who'd been around for about 10 years and had none of them. The music was amazing, but I had a really weird feeling about it. I did a tour in Canada with them, and prompt upon getting back, the singer fired everyone.
Oh.
Because he just decided he wasn't happy with what people were doing. And it was kind of a bit of an ego thing for him, I think. Like everyone was just let go for no reason at all. So, I don't know. But yeah, lesson learned from that. So yeah.
Nice. Good, great advice, people.
Very good.
Especially mine.
But do you think, going back to Kira's point about the learning all the styles, I mean, my impression is that the music schools sort of push that as a kind of, they have this need to give you a lot of stuff in order to get you to go there. I don't know whether you found that when you were there.
I think I'm pleased that I learned. Sorry, gone.
So I'm not asking you to trash ACM, by the way.
No.
Just a general.
I learned so much at ACM.
Yeah.
And I think it gives you a foundation, doesn't it, in all these different styles. So then if you are called in to do like a session, like a jingle or whatever, and someone says, oh, I want this kind of feel, then hopefully with that knowledge, you'll be able to do something that they want.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. But then I think just to leave it there, maybe. I think it depends what kind of player you are. But for me, for sure, I think I always feel my best and feel more motivated when I'm doing something that I really love, not to have the chatter in my head of, oh, but you need to get better at jazz. Or,
there it is. Do you know what the psychological term for that is? You'll like this. Whether that I should be doing something. She's frozen, I think. Oh.
Am I frozen?
No, it's Mark. We froze for a second.
Oh, did I? Okay. It's called parent. They're called parent words. Should be doing this. You should be doing that. You shouldn't be doing this. You should. I mean, you'd be quite familiar with that, having children. But yeah, it's that little voice in the back of your head that says, "Well, you shouldn't really be doing this."
Yeah.
I think the issue with the music schools, I don't know, because I've been in the music school when dinosaurs walked the earth, so it's been a while. But it seems that they didn't change much, as for the people I've seen coming out of these schools of music in the last 5 years, for example.
Yeah.
Back in the day, MI prepared us to be session musicians.
Yeah.
So you would be able to deal with basically anything, because especially in an environment like LA, you would be hired just because you're a drummer. So people need a drummer. Oh, you're a drummer? Go there. And then at the recording studio, you would find out what style, how many songs, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know? And sometimes you would arrive with a kit with double film drum heads, and they wanted you to play brushes. So you had to ask somebody to go to a music shop and buy coated heads so you could record. So there was no briefing, let's say. And the real high level recordings, like Dom was talking about on the previous video, it's like it could be anything, and you had to sight read on the spot. Like, it could be very simple, but could be very complicated.
Right.
So this is what these schools prepare you to be, a very good session musician.
Yeah.
The issue now with the 21st century and the internet and live stream and all this stuff is, where are the sessions? Okay. So, for example, interview with that some friends of mine, they have an educational website for drumming, but they also do interviews. And this guy they were interviewing a drummer who's a drummer for 40 plus years and has worked with many big names, not only in Brazil, but out of Brazil. And he was saying, like, now he's studying piano because he set up his studio 20 years ago. And then obviously he would get work, people coming to his studio and record. Then it changed to people sending him the tracks and he playing. And now it got to the point where people are saying, well, you have the studio, why don't you write a soundtrack for this, write a soundtrack for that? So now with the basic knowledge he had of music, he could do, but now he got so professional that he's practicing piano so he can have better ideas, because he basically now is recording everything.
Right.
Not only his studio, but all the instruments.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think it seems to me that obviously you need to go to school to learn technique and styles and reading and all this stuff. But I think there's a lack of, I don't like to say this word, first of all, because I don't pronounce it very well. Second of all, because it's been so trash, but entrepreneurial, did I get it right? I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Close enough? All right.
Yeah.
But you have to have some sort of lesson, not to teach students, everybody, okay, we're going to be entrepreneurs now and do everything by ourselves, but at least show them that there is this side of the business nowadays that 25 years ago didn't exist.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know, I might be wrong.
Well, I know they teach business, but from what I've seen, a lot of the curriculum's focused around getting a major label deal and what to do.
Yeah.
And like, you're not going to get one, basically.
Which is basically what they taught business when I was at MI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a reasonable chance that you'd actually do.
And one of the guys I invited to do one of these sessions with us, he hasn't replied yet, Paul Queen. He's an entertainment lawyer. He's very good at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and I've heard him saying many occasions, you don't need a record label to have a decent career as a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
Unless you want to be as big as Lady Gaga, then you need one.
Yeah.
You know, but are you going to do the kind of music Lady Gaga does? I don't dance that well, so probably not.
Okay, I think you could be the next Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the senior Lady Gaga, senior Lord Gaga.
Because I remember when I was at MI in London. What year were you at MI? Because I was there in 95, 96.
Yeah, same year.
Okay, so not that long ago. You said.
No, just 25 years ago.
25.
How much?
Bloody hell. Yeah, I remember the business classes were basically, here's what a major label deal looks like. And actually on that point, the first time I got a record deal, which was I think 2000, so it's about 5 years after I left music school, so it was my first metal band. Because both the guitarist and myself had been to MI in Wapping, so we approached the deal like it was a major label deal, and it didn't do us any favors at all. We ended up, because independence, like, you know, the difference, the thing I say to students when they're asking about it is the difference between an independent record deal and a major label deal is 2 zeros. You know, like a major label. I think the last deal I had with Spearhead, the budget was about €2,000, something like that, to complete the recording. Is that, you know, there's no huge amounts of money, but we actually we had George Michael's lawyer, believe it or not, representing us, which we didn't. He said he was going to do it pro bono, but the problem is he approached this small independent American company run by 2 guys like they were Sony. And it didn't end well, put it that way. Didn't do us any, because we didn't know any different. Nobody'd said to us, actually, when you go to an independent, you know, this is probably what they're going to offer you. It's not going to be much. Most independent record deals are done for CDs these days, which is much better. They'll print the vinyl and then print the CDs, then they send you a percentage that you can sell at gigs. And oddly enough, in metal particularly, tapes are a big thing again now.
Really?
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, so when Spearhead, the last time Spearhead gigged, which was a couple of years ago, we sold more vinyl and tapes than anything else. People like the nostalgia, which is it's really strange, but yeah, really strange. But they print the tapes and the vinyl, and we sell more of them than anything else, I think.
Wow.
Was that expensive to do?
No, well, no, it was part of the deal. Like, so the deal we had it was with a very small Irish label called Invictus Productions, and they're quite sort of it's an underground genre, so they're known sort of on that scene. And they pressed 1,000 CDs, I think 200 vinyl, and a handful of tapes. And
That's cool.
you know, we got, I think we got 10%
Okay.
of everything pressed, basically.
Cool. But just also, you know, yeah, if you can get a record label, if you can get a record deal, amazing. But it's also not essential.
No, it's not.
I'm 50 years old. I've never signed a record deal, and I'm still alive.
No, I've never made any money off of a record deal, put it that way. But I guess what I was driving at now is, you see, in terms of like actually sort of, I'm going to say making money out of it, having the CDs is better because you haven't got to chase the label for an accountant. You haven't got to chase the label for accounts or anything. You've got the product there and you can sell it at the gigs. And nowadays those gigs actually pay money because nobody buys music, so the ticket prices have gone up. It's very strange. Like the live scene's changed completely. But yeah, you don't need it by any stretch.
Cool. We have 9 minutes and 35 seconds.
Oh, good.
Good.
But yeah, I think I think it's a big problem with the way the schools teach, is they are very out of date, especially on that side of it.
I would say ACM was good in the fact that they did teach us about, not that I can remember all of it now, but they did teach us about copyright and all the different companies to register with, you know, PRS and I don't know, is it PPL? See, this is how little I've retained in my failing brain. But they did go through that, and I think that was really valuable. I think hopefully the schools will just catch up with today's, you know, music scene somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you playing at the moment with bands?
Yeah.
Okay. So I saw you've got a new project going or something on it.
Oh, I can't talk about that. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, it
Oh,
seems
nothing, I
important.
cannot.
It seems important.
It's important to me.
No, but you cannot talk about it because it's important.
Yeah.
There's important people involved. So here's the new Lady Gaga.
Are you playing with anyone you can talk about?
Oh, I play for the Penelopes.
Oh, okay. You're still playing with them?
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of this band is that these guys do a lot of like electronic DJ stuff, so they can go and do sets on their own and stuff. But
Okay.
then when they want a band, then they get me and Quentin, the bass player, in, and it's just a few gigs a year, really, which is perfect for me and my life with the kids and teaching.
Yeah.
And they're just super sweet. It's all paid. It's all lovely. So, yeah, really grateful for that. I don't know if it's because they're from France, so they've got like a base there already and like contacts, because it's usually just in France that we go to. Yeah.
So how did you get that gig? Because you've been doing that for quite a while.
You're not going to believe how I got this gig.
Okay.
Gumtree.
Gumtree.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You just applied for it then?
Yeah, I just saw a random advert for a drummer. Might have been specifically themed or now. And then I just messaged saying, what's this? You know, interested, la 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 la. And Quentin replied and went for a little audition. And then that was it.
Nice. So what was the audition process like?
Oh, very scary because I had to sing.
Oh God.
It was really scary.
It's scary for whom? For you or for them?
Both.
Be nice.
Yeah, I felt really scared because I had to sing and play drums and be heard and try and pitch. It was really terrifying. And the singer, he's super cool. He wears shades all the time. He looks like he should be like a fashion model or something.
Yeah.
So, and he's quite moody, like mysterious. So I was terrified. Yeah. And then they said, oh, we like you. Maybe we'll work together and stuff. And now it's great. And they're good guys and they're perfect. So I was pregnant and I couldn't do a little tour.
Yeah.
No, I just had Indiana. Yeah. And I was going to go and tour with them with the baby, and but the reality of doing that was a lot harder. Yeah. And so they just got someone else, and they're just super cool and relaxed about all that kind of thing, which I really appreciate.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So I've one question for both of you, just before we wrap up. Have either of you tried the open-handed? Well, I know Philippe, actually, you do it all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I'm 100% open-handed now.
Because I lowered after the interview with Dom, I lowered my hi-hat, and yeah, it's really hard. I just wondered how you're getting on with it. Have you tried it, Kira?
I haven't yet. I've only tried it like here and there with lessons if I'm teaching a lefty.
Right.
But that was my goal yesterday, is to lower my hats. Actually, I didn't do it because I got carried away. But yeah, this week I want to do that. I want to lower my hi-hats and try it like properly.
Yeah.
So let me tell you a little anecdote. I was probably 3 months into playing open-handed, and then I decided to do it in a rehearsal, right? But I didn't say anything to the other band members. So we just got together. I had my hi-hat lowered and I started playing. And obviously, it was a little bit too soon to start playing in a band situation with open-handed, and didn't go as well as I thought it would go. And so we finished the first song. The bass player looked at me and said, "What happened?"
Oh.
And then I said, "Oh no, I'm trying this new thing. Kira, let's go. Come back here."
I'm
There
here.
she
I'm
is.
here.
So I said, "Oh no, I'm just trying open-handed now." And then he asked again, "Are you gonna play like that now?" I said, "No, Ralph. I intend to get better at it. I was just trying." I said, "Oh, okay." So I realized that it was a little bit too soon, so I put the hi-hat up again.
Oh, good for you for trying it though.
You should have just told him rehearsals are for cowards and walked out. You've been doing it for quite a long time now, haven't you?
Yeah, well, let's say professionally,
Yeah.
for 5 years.
And what's the biggest difference you've noticed?
I can play any part of my drum kit in any direction I want and at any given time. So if I'm playing something on the hi-hat that needs accents on the tones, it's like the easiest thing I've ever done. If you want to play a groove where you want to incorporate the tones, it's very, very, very easy.
So I'm taking it you'd recommend it from that. Because I'm going to blame you if it's too hard.
Yeah, well, it is hard.
No, I found
It
that
is
out.
hard.
Yeah.
You can blame me, I don't mind. It's just that, there's still people playing traditional grip,
Sure.
And as Don said, it is an old solution for new problems.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to get my drums as symmetrical as possible these days. Try and get everything, but I'm so far from it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It looks nice, but cool. Okay, should we wrap it up there?
I think we have to.
Excellent. All right. Well, I will see you next time, guys.
See you next
Great
time.
chatting. Bye.
Bye.